What's up, everybody? Welcome to another video. Now, on this channel, it may seem that I got some kind of a vendetta against the left, but I really don't. If you're somebody from the left and you're doing the right things, of course, I will praise you and pat you on the back. If you're somebody from the right and you're doing something wrong, of course, I'm going to call you out. I don't care what side you belong. I care about doing what's right. Now, it may seem like I get at the left a lot, but my reasons are not far-fetched. When you take a look at what's going on in the world right now, and I keep on saying this, that things are starting to look like we are living in a bizarre world. The left are living in some sort of an alternate universe where to them what is bad is good, and to them what is good is bad. Take, for instance, when they talk about unity, they really do not want unity. They want conformity. They want you to bend the knee. These are the same people who will get at you for doing the right thing. For doing the right thing, they will care less if you're one of them. Right now, they're on a rampage for cancel culture. They've been trying to cancel every single person that they possibly can. And I know a lot of liberals out there, a lot of leftists out there, a lot of Democrats out there, they support this rhetoric to actually cancel conservatives. But the big mistake that a lot of people are making, especially those of you who call yourself liberals and those of you who are neutral, they do not care about individuals. So the moment you start to think critically, the moment you start to become your own person and want to do what's right, regardless of party-wise or regardless of political affiliations, they will get at you. They don't care if you're one of their own or not. In light of this, let's talk about Van Jones recently, who has been in the news lately. Over the weekend, Van Jones went to a show called The View. Now, Van Jones went to discuss the documentary that he recently produced, and he actually produced it with one of the co-hosts on The View. Now, when it comes to the show, The View, personally, for me, I think they should call it the leftist view. Now, I know that there are some people that claim to be Republicans. John McCain's daughter is on it, Meghan McCain, who is a Republican, which I will agree that she's a Republican, but she's kind of like the token they put in the show so that it feels like it gives you some sense of balance. But in reality, there's no balance in this show at all. It is a hard leftist show. They also have Ana Navarro that shows up every now and again. And Ana Navarro claims to be a Republican, but unknown to a lot of people, Ana Navarro has been voting Democrats since 2013. She voted for Hillary. She's voted for Biden. She's been voting for Democrats at the state, local level, and at federal level since 2013. She's been totally against everything that the Republicans stand for. But this gives you the kind of scenario or the kind of idea of what these people are. So Van Jones went on the show anyway to go and discuss his documentary, and the documentary talks about reuniting the United States or something like that. I think the name of the documentary is The Reunited States, and what that documentary is majorly about is that people are people first. Like, you share the same pains, you go through the same problems. There's nothing demarcating you from the other person. Like, seriously, if you lose a loved one, it doesn't matter if you are Republican or Democrat, you're going to feel it like the same, right? If there are police brutalities happening to people, police brutality is going to happen to whites and blacks. It's going to happen to Republicans and Democrats. There is nothing different. It's something that affects everybody. So he wanted people to see this documentary so that you can put aside your political differences and come together as one and work together. Now, he's not trying to unite the parties, he's trying to unite people. So you can keep your political opinions, but at the same time, you can still afford to be a decent human being. But when he went on this show, instead of receiving kudos, instead of them getting him to talk more about this documentary, they were already bitter that this guy was working with the Republicans to actually get things done. Now, we're going to get into this story. We're going to get into a few clips that have been making the round on the internet and a couple more stories about Van Jones himself on this particular episode, because this guy, even as a leftist, even as a Democrat, has done quite a fair bit. And I believe people should hear about this guy because he is truly making a difference. So we're going to get into that, get into a couple of stories, and I'm going to share my own opinion as we go along. Please feel free to share your own opinions in that comment section below. But below. But before we do any of that, I would like to urge you guys to continue to help me as you have been doing by hitting that like button below. And also while you're down there, please do consider subscribing if you are new, and I will massively appreciate it. Thank you very muchly. Now, without further ado, let's get straight into things, shall we? Now, there are several clips circulating the internet, and a lot of people, a lot of Twitter mobs, a lot of leftists, especially black leftists, have been praising members of The View for shutting down Van Jones. And we're going to take a look at a couple of them. Now, the first clip I want to show you is actually Sonny Hostin. They had to get a black person to actually question him about this because they needed the representative, which is what leftists always do. They want representation. They don't actually care about doing things. They care about playing identity politics. But anyhow, that's a story for another time. Let's get straight into this clip.
Now, Van, you do spend a lot of time, threading the middle and trying to unite people. But there are those who really accuse you of being a political opportunist, a chameleon, so to speak, who provided racial cover for former disgraced, twice impeached President Trump. You said this, and I quote, "Donald Trump, and I get beat up by liberals every time I say this, but I'm going to keep saying it. He has done good stuff for the black community, opportunity zone stuff, black college stuff. There's a side to Donald Trump that I think he does not get enough credit for." Yet, just recently, you cried on CNN when Joe Biden was elected the 46th president, and you said, "It's easier to be a parent now. Character matters now. Truth matters." You even mentioned George Floyd and said a lot of people felt they couldn't breathe. People in the black community don't trust you anymore. What is your response?
Okay, now, first off, I will credit Sonny Hostin because for me personally, I thought that Van Jones was a little bit of a flip-flopper because one moment he's actually praising Donald Trump for the good things that Donald Trump has done. And then the next moment he's actually on TV crying because Joe Biden won the election. That was a big disappointment for me. I don't think that he should have gone on TV and started crying like a little baby on TV and trying to like portray Biden as the beacon of hope or some second coming of Christ or something. So with that, I think they should have gotten at him for that. But that doesn't take away what he actually came to do here. And whilst Sonny Hostin is talking about black people losing faith in him, I'm inclined to question Sonny Hostin herself that what black people are you talking about? The real black people that this guy has helped, or the Twitter mob that is praising you guys for actually barraging this guy? But anyway, let's take a look at the response that Van Jones gave to Sonny Hostin.
I don't think that's true. The entire quote I said was that Trump has done a lot of good stuff he doesn't get credit for. And then I went on to say the reason I didn't get credit for it is because he's done all this horrific stuff, said all this horrific stuff, and it completely erases what he's done. But what happens is social media will take the clip, but they won't show the full context. And so what I will say is this. My entire life has been about bringing people together to solve tough problems for people at the very bottom who don't have anything. I've spent 25 years fighting against the prison system. I have helped to close 5 abusive prisons. And by working with Republicans at the local, state, and federal level, and yes, including the Trump administration, I have helped to pass 18 bipartisan bills. We got 14,000 people out of the federal prison system with the First Step Act and more to come. We got 70,000 human beings who were suffering in jails and prisons under COVID, released under compassionate release, working with Republicans and Democrats. Black Lives Matter, math matters too.
All right, so you can see his response. He was mostly focused on getting things done. Van Jones has done a lot for the black people. And as mentioned there, 14,000 people have benefited from the First Step Act. And he had to step out of his comfort zone to go and work with Republicans as well as Democrats to make sure that these bills were passed. Now, these bills included prison reforms and also sentencing reforms, amongst other things, how people are treated, what kind of sentencing that they get. And this was kind of like a repairing of the 1994 crime bill that people like Bill Clinton and as well as Joe Biden, the current president, actually put in place that has punished people beyond the sort of sentencing that they were supposed to get or even getting any sentencing at all. So this guy has done a lot, not just for the black community, but for Americans. But instead of getting a pat on the back, he keeps getting called out that he is a traitor to his own people because he has worked with Republicans who are supposed to be fellow American and actually his people. After all this explanation that he went through, he actually talked about this. He also mentioned the fact that people that are calling him out haven't done anything to actually help black community, let alone Americans in general. They haven't done a single thing, but still they have the courage and the nerve to actually call out somebody who is doing something and actually making a positive difference in the world, simply because he's associating himself with Republicans or associating himself with conservatives. So in this next video, we are going to see Ana Navarro call him out, and also Joy Behar actually shutting him down.
But you did things like take smiling pictures with Candace Owens, who I think is very hurtful. Okay, do you not regret that? Do you not see that you're giving her legitimacy? You don't regret taking pictures, smiling pictures with Candace Owens? I mean, how does that help the issue?
And
you're going to have to take it outside. Thanks to Van Jones, the reunited States will be streaming and on demand starting February 9th. For more information on the documentary and for resources on how to foster these conversations in your own community, you can visit our website. Van, take a nap. We'll be right back.
Now, just at the end there, you see Joy Behar actually telling Van Jones to go take a nap. That is very, very insulting. Imagine for a second if this was a Republican who said this to a black person. Like, I've literally seen a Republican who told a black woman, get your lazy ass off the couch and go get a job, and was branded a racist. Joy Behar has literally done the same thing, telling Van Jones on TV to go take a nap because he was actually trying to get his point across. But my question to people like this and people like Sonny Hostin is this: if you had a relative, a husband or wife, an auntie, an uncle, a brother or a sister, whoever, siblings, whatever you want to call them, right? If you had one of them in prison, somebody dear to you, and Trump happened to be the president and could sign a bill that will get them released before the time they were meant to spend, would you say, no, I don't want that? I want my person to spend another 2 or 3 more years in prison in the hopes that Biden will win, and then we maybe will try to get him out of prison or her out of prison. Seriously, will you do that or will you not? It's a question, and I pose that question to you guys at home as well. Will you take that release regardless of the fact that it's Trump that is actually signing the bill, or will you not? That's the question you need to ask. And real people, I'm pretty sure I know the answer that they will give. Now, this isn't the first time that Van Jones will be called out for actually working with Republicans, taking photos or what have you. And in 2018, Van Jones had to mention the reason why he switched and decided to work with Republicans as well as Democrats. And this is what he had to say. When we had Obama in the White House and former U.S. Attorney Eric Holder and Loretta Lynch in the Department of Justice, this is him saying that they were in charge in 2016. We had a pretty robust bill that I fought tooth and nail to try to get passed. It had sentencing reforms, prison reforms, and every other kind of reform in there. In the fall of 2016, a bunch of people said, and these are Democrats, by the way, well, let's not pass this right now. The Democrats are going to have an epic victory. We'll have Hillary Clinton, more Democrats, and we can get an even better bill. You see, the lesson I learned from that was to take reforms I can get when you can get it and keep going. And that is a smart move by Van Jones. He got that prison reform. He got all those thousands of people back home. Now, this is not the only time that the Democrats will be making false promises. Just remember recently, and I did a story about this, Ice Cube was actually reached out to when he was trying to make the contract for Black America. So, 2 parties reached out to him. Democrats reached out to him, and also Republicans reached out to him. Now, he decided to work with Republicans because the Republicans actually presented him with a proper deal in a budget of $500 billion for Black people, and they called it the Platinum Plan. And everything on that plan was very similar. At least 90% of it was the same thing on the contract for Black America that was prepared by Ice Cube. So Ice Cube helped work on the Platinum Plan. Now, instead of getting the pat on the back from these lefties, what did he get? He got trashed. He got trashed just like Van Jones is getting trashed. Now, for the other side, when it comes to Biden's team, they told him, wait till after November the 3rd, and then we will get back to you. guess what? It's been November the 3rd. It's been December the 3rd. It's been January the 3rd, and we've just gone past February the 3rd, right? Okay, let's give it, it's only been what? A few weeks now. But regardless of that, they have not contacted Ice Cube. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Now, I'm going to be bidding you guys adieu once again. But before I do, a quick reminder that if you're yet to do so, please do help me out by hitting that like button. And also, please do subscribe if you are new. Now, I want to thank you guys for checking out this video. Hope you liked it. If you did not, thank you for watching it up to this point anyways. Now, I'm going to be seeing you guys real soon. Until the next time, have a wonderful rest of your week.